Hi, and thanks for joining us on another great edition of Two Guys and a Lot of Wine. I'm Bobby P.
And I'm Rocky Holland.
And you'll be seeing this show in November. We're throwing everything out there. Everything that was in the kitchen sink, we're throwing out. We got some good stuff for you tonight. We have two
There's no theme at all.
No theme at all. So this is not a Thanksgiving theme like we've done in years past. This is just some good wine drinking, a good wine drinking show. So we have two very special guests. We have Chris Kelley here to my left, who is the head bartender at Vinted. And Rocky, I'll let you introduce our other fine
Lincoln Gerstung. We actually met Lincoln when he worked at Vinted, and now is with the Millrights. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
A very fine establishment, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes, we all like Millrights.
We're gonna try to go through 5 tonight, and then discuss each one a little bit afterwards, because we really want to make sure we get everything tasted tonight. So we're probably going to start off what one of my choices was, which is a Viette Côtes de Provence, France. A rosé. I know it's cold probably when you're watching the show, but in my opinion, there's no such thing as no time for rosé. So this is a little gem that I think is really nice that would go with pretty much anything in any season. It's a dry rosé, and it's one of the few rosés that I have heard that, if you want to pass that down, is a very more stony rosé than we're used to, Rocky.
A stony rosé.
A stony rosé.
I do like a good stony rosé. By the way, I'm holding a napkin because I cut my finger while I was opening a wine bottle, because I've only opened 7,000 wine bottles in my life, and that's not
So this
enough.
is our first show with actual blood on air, that Rocky. First show with blood on air.
I'm bleeding right in front of the audience, so this is good stuff. Actually, I think I finally stopped the bleeding. That's good.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a tourniquet going
So-
here.
Super glue
So
my bag
should
if
probably
you need
not just have it.
Just
Just gonna put this right over here. We're professionals here, in case you guys can't tell.
So both Chris and Lincoln, what is your experience with rosés at both the restaurant and at Vinted? Like, do people still drink a lot of them, or are they waned a little bit over the last?
I feel like rosé is still going strong. There's a lot of variety, especially when you start getting into that, like skin contact wines that kind of, bridge the gap between a few different styles, and they're a little funky, but rosé has always been kind of pretty consistent, and year round too. I feel like I think I share your opinion in that. Like, I drink it all year round.
I agree.
It's great.
You can never go wrong with a rosé. And this, to me, is a little minerally compared to some of the other rosés.
Yeah, this is what did you say, Côte de Provence?
Yeah.
This is a little pretty
It's
dry.
pretty new.
It's not like a berry bomb. It's not
No,
like
it's definitely not a
strawberries
berry
and
bomb.
watermelon slapping you in the face. It's
And it's a 2021, so obviously it's relatively fresh. It's one of the little more pricier ones that we generally do on the show. It's between $18, $22.99. Generally, I like to keep my rosés, as you do, in the $13 to $15 range.
for Provence, for me, you don't have to spend $20 because you can find them. They're $12 that are going to be just as good, sometimes better.
I won't tell you what the restaurant price is.
Yeah, no, we won't get into that. We don't talk about restaurant
what do you think,
markup.
I think it's, like you said, very mineral driven, and it's Provence. I mean, 2021.
You agree, Rock?
I agree that it is mineral driven, and according to that label, it is Provence 2021. It's everything that I expect out of provincial rosé, and that's what I mostly drink. I know that makes me sound like a cookie cutter guy, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I try to enjoy rosés from California and from Italy and from Spain, and I just don't like them as much as I do from Provence. I'm simple like that. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but that's what I drink during the summertime.
And Chris and Lincoln, what do you have for rosé selections at the restaurants and Vinted? So what do you guys offer?
Right now I'm offering Beeler. It's fairly inexpensive, but it's just a decent Provençal rosé. Before that, it was Parasol LaCroix by the glass, and it's just great summer wine. I feel like.
Yeah, we have invented the Chateau Pigeaudet from Provence. It's a little bit lighter, definitely lighter than this one. Same, standard mineral-driven, kind of backbone. And then we also have a Pinot Noir rosé from Willamette. I'm not from there, so
No, we got a
I can
Willamette
say
Pinot
it.
Noir coming up.
I can say it any way I want. But yeah, it's a Pinot Noir. It's called Argyle, and
Willamette
it's a
ever
little
win the
bit
World
jammier,
Series? No.
but it's still dry.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Well, I'll give him another thumbs up, even though I brought it, so I'm biased. But my
No,
thumbs going
I
up.
like it. This is
solid.
my wheelhouse right here. It's not for everybody, but it's for a lot of people because it's very popular.
Now, both
Go to
Lincoln and
Provence.
Chris, you're welcome to chug that, or you can use Rocky's little pour glass, because we got a lot of drinking to do tonight. So.
Okay, I brought my Initech mug with me
I
for,
feel like I'm losing a little
for
moisture in
dumping.
these lights, so I got to replace it somehow. So.
It's funny, back in the day, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, we used to stand and do the show. And even though the lights back then were hotter, it was not pleasant. So if you were watching the show 5-6 years ago, we had sweat on our foreheads, and we did not look like we were having a good time. We were, but we didn't look like it, but we were having a good time.
Also, Bobby and I kind of looked like Penn and Teller for the because he's considerably taller than me,
Right,
so it was
that's
a
pretty
little
funny. I never thought
ridiculous.
of that,
But,
right.
yeah.
All right, so we're going with Rocky's selection next, right? I'm sorry,
yeah.
is this yours?
The
white-
Sancerre,
it
yep.
is? Okay.
Yep.
I'll start down here.
This is Sancerre. It is from Sancerre, and it is Sancerre, and it is Lincoln? What would you say to describe Sancerre as opposed to maybe like New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc? Sauvignon, well, I guess I should intro for the kids at home. Sauvignon Blanc is the grape, and it can, not unlike maybe Chardonnay, it can vary so much from region to region. This is my favorite region for this particular grape. So if you drink New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, it tends to taste like grapefruit and maybe a little bit of grass. I think it tastes like onions. Not everybody believes that. Pineapple and tropical, and everybody loves that. Sancerre, to me, is usually got a little bit more of a peachy aspect to it. If it's good Sancerre, it's going to have a minerally aspect to it. You probably still can get, I don't know, a little bit of an herbal note to this, but
I definitely get the peachiness there. And once again, both these whites, whether Rosé and the Sancerre, have been sitting out for at least a half hour. They still have a little chill to them, but they're still very, very good.
I actually, by design, did not chill this to refrigerator temp because a couple of shows ago, I think we had some whites on there that were they were too cold.
Too cold.
And by the time we were done shooting, I don't even remember what it was. And then we were tasting them afterwards, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
they were
this tastes
completely
way
different,
better
you're
at almost room temperature. So I'm going to try to stay away from that, and maybe because you can really tell what's in the wine a little bit better if it's not refrigerator cold. Now, for rosé, I always drink rosé and champagne refrigerator cold. Like, I want it ice cold. That's just a personal preference. But for a lot of white wines, you really shouldn't do that. So, thoughts, flavors, anything?
Definitely peach. I'm getting like a little bit of like a honeydew kind of like on
Oh,
the
honeydew,
end,
yeah.
but just
Yeah.
like, I don't know, but not like full on sweet honeydew. Just that, I don't know how to describe it. I've never had like the leaves of a honeydew tree, but maybe.
Yep, I could see that.
Is that a thing?
It's definitely got a honeyed note.
I always feel like Sancerre,
Yeah.
depending on what vineyard it's coming from, has a very different aspect, and it's just kind of cool to taste something like this up against, say, like, I mean, this is like Pinot Grigio's sexy older sister, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's
Oh, I like that,
it's
yeah.
cool, you know? And it just varies differently, terroir driven, depending on the vineyard in Sancerre. This is very good.
Yeah, the Pinot Grigio, you're going to get the mineral aspects. You're going to get a lot of peach, and it kind of just stops there. I think Karen McNeil, who wrote the Wine Bible, calls that the white T-shirt of wine. It's simple, it's good, but then if you go to like Sancerre and you get a lot more elements that are coming in here. The minerality is good, and sometimes you get an herbal element. But I like this one a lot. That's why I brought it on, because I know you guys are knowledgeable in your wine. So I decided to bring this on and then cut my finger open before.
What's the year on that, Rob?
22.
22. And we discussed this before, but always new people watching the show. What's the deal with aging this, or how long you can keep a wine like this?
That's subjective. I'll get your guys' opinion. My opinion is there are very few white wines that I like more than about 3 years old.
I would say you can go to Merlot and age a Sancerre for, 15 years?
Yeah, I mean,
It still have that bright, fruity lemon aspect that it does typically.
Mhm.
This, I say, within up to 5 maybe.
Mhm.
And it's got some nice acidity to it, so it's going to hold.
Yeah.
Well, another thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thumbs up.
This one.
So,
Yeah.
mine's already gone. So I'll give.
And if you like this wine, this is, we're not allowed to say the exact price points. I don't even know the legality behind
I
that.
don't
but
quite understand.
This is
It's a
available at
range.
Wise Old Dog for between $24 and $26. So you can do the math there at home. Some of you can, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless you're from Halls, where I grew up, or South Carolina, where Lincoln grew up. All right.
So we got 3 more to get to. Then we're going to talk to our restaurateurs and wine guys a little bit more about what's going on in their businesses. So I have a Willamette Valley, Oregon Pinot Noir 2017. Angela's pretty highly rated. I have 3 of these left, and I've been sort of saving this. Didn't know when we were going to use it on the show, so this is when we're using it on the show. So you guys probably have a lot more experience, a lot more knowledge on Oregon Pinot Noirs. Some of the better ones come from Oregon, right? That's probably where some of the
Yeah,
best ones
and
come
you should
from.
mention that this one is actually specific to Yamhill Carlton, which is a region in Willamette. Because a lot of times, if it just says Willamette, they can source the grapes from the entire region, and it doesn't necessarily. Yeah, I'll go with that one. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a better wine, but in a lot of cases, if it's from a single region, it's probably going to be a bit pricier and command that price for a reason, I guess.
This is one of the wines that I remember when I first tasted it. It's one of the few reds. And on my palate's not as intricate as Rocky's or these other gentlemen's possibly. I got clove in this, and I don't normally get clove in a red wine or a Pinot Noir.
I feel like I'm getting a lot of spice on the nose, which is nice. Like,
I feel like that's a lot to do with French barrels.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's
Yeah,
delicious.
It's really good. Well, then,
Yeah, typically your spice aspects are not going to come from the actual grapes themselves, but however they, what type of barrel that they used. And French barrels tend to they can give you a clove aspect, whereas like American barrels are going to give you kind of like a coconut dill. You're not going to see a lot of Pinot Noir that's aged in American barrels. So
And I
it
think
wouldn't really work.
the Angela Vineyards, I think they've only been around since 2006, but they've developed quite a name for themselves over the last many years.
I've had it before. I don't know that I've had this particular one, but I've definitely had, don't quite remember where, but this is everything that you expect out of Willamette. It's got a little bit of an earthy note to it. It's got bright cherry. It's got some spice going on. What am I missing, Lincoln?
it's very compact fruit. I feel like it needs just a little bit more time to open up.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely could open up more.
Other than that, it's great.
Actually, that segues me into a question I was going to ask you later, but I'm going to ask you now. I've always wondered this about restaurants, and me and Rocky have talked about it on the show. When somebody comes into the restaurant and they order a relatively expensive bottle of wine, say $100, because obviously you have them, I've always been curious about, do most customers ask for you to aerate it or open it up ahead of time? They just drink it as soon as you pop the cork. Now,
Yeah.
what is your opinion on that, though? If it's a really good bottle, do you advise them to maybe let it sit for a bit, or maybe pour it into a decanter?
I mean, I feel like it's suggested if someone comes in and orders a nice bottle of, say, like this, or you know, a $2,000 bottle of Bond, that they open it up just a little bit. But it's personal preference. I mean, we always ask if they'd like the wine decanted.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Oh, all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had on our last show, we had that Puyak wine that was like $70 wine, and I tasted it, and I'm like, oh, this is a waste, because I ended up taking it home, and I opened it up the next
Completely
day,
different, yeah,
and it
I
was a
know.
completely different wine. I'm like, but you know, I mean, it's kind of tough for a show like this. How do you
Gauge what.
You really can't.
I could open it
Obviously,
up
you could
2
open it up
hours
the day
before and
but-
bring it in, you know, and pour it back into the bottle. I guess that would be.
I mean, I feel like that's a cool part about wine, because you're kind of representing history,
Mm-hmm.
and knowledge, and everything else that's gone into that bottle, and being able to know that that bottle needs just a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
time on the shelf to kind of just show off. I think that's super cool. I
Yeah,
mean,
and-
that's
and-
what I've always liked about wine.
And just because it's expensive doesn't necessarily mean that it needs decanting more. Like if you have a DRC, which is Pinot Noir, it's not going to need decanting as much as, say, if you have like a Cabernet from Bordeaux that's old and expensive. That's probably going to need a little bit more time to let the oxygen just kind of work its way into the wine, open everything up.
And what is your Pinot Noir collection or selections at the restaurants?
I mean, we have everything from domestic, forest Pinot Noir out of Willamette Valley, all the way up to 2014 Mary Edwards, rest in peace, from the United States. And then,
Do you sell all over the board, or is there like one niche that seems to sell better than others?
I mean, it's mostly domestic. It's mostly New World. It's, occasionally you can get somebody on like a Chilean Pinot Noir, or they're trying to try something a little bit newer, advance themselves a little bit. But it's mostly New World, even at Millrights. I mean, it's just, you have to have the staff to really push.
That's what the American consumer wants.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the 10 percentile that
Yeah.
you have coming to the restaurant.
I remember when I first started doing the show years ago with Jim, I said that's the whole purpose that we wanted to do the show, is to have people try different varietals, different regions of wine, because They all are good. It's just a
You know,
question
that's
of
what I'm all about.
expand yourself. I mean,
But
get away
if you go to like Capitol Grill, they have these lockers where the who's who can,
Camus and shit.
every single one is like Opus One and Camus, and I'm like, you know, and these are $100, $200, $300 bottles of wine, but they're all California Napa, yeah, and it just it lends credibility to the assumption that, you know, you kind of pigeonhole yourself in America into the American wine, and
That's
there's
cool
so
thing,
much
too,
more
though, is
out
we've
there.
got, like great domestic wine.
We do,
And
yeah,
let's be honest, the Europeans aren't releasing their best product.
and they're not consistent either. I mean,
Well, neither is
Yeah.
California. So.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah, exactly.
but in all fairness, California is more consistent for the price. You can spend upwards of $100, $200 on a bottle of Burgundy and just be like, you know, if it's but if you spend $200 on a bottle of California wine, it's
Sea
probably
smoke
going to be you're going to get something that's a consistent product.
You could spend $200 on, you know, 12 or 13 bottles of Spanish wine, and you're going to find 10 or 11.
Which
that
is
you love,
exactly what
you
I
know?
do. I host a wine show, but I really don't drink that many $200 bottles of wine because my thing is value.
In theory, it's nice, but like, you know, at Vinted, it's basically we have, you know, 70 wines, you know, in a Cuvier system that you can try. And one of my favorite things, like, I mean, I feel like the three of you know way more about wine than I do, but I know what we have on our list. And I know, based on a few questions, you know, I can talk to somebody, figure out what they like, and we can have them try a few different things. Then I got to find them at least 6 wines that they're going to love, you know, from all the places that they've never heard of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So-
good. Yep. Well,
And
I'm giving my wine a thumbs up, of course. 'Cause
Yes, I
This is
would
delicious.
definitely give this a thumbs up. This is
Can
straight.
I pull this one in next?
You want to do that one next?
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm just gonna pull it.
Because the last one they're doing is going to
So
be
do you
kind
want
of
to
heavy.
segue this, Lincoln, and what we're doing here? What are we doing? What are we doing?
This is a wine I know nothing about. These guys know nothing about.
Is it a white or
This
red?
is what's
red.
called blind tasting.
Yeah, this
Lincoln
is
and I
blind
used
tasting.
to be in a blind tasting group.
Yeah, it don't taste like
We've
crust.
it's
really
harder than you
fun.
think
that's
to.
Oh, that looks French.
Which one of these glasses? It's always good to slam a few
Yeah, it's
glasses
good.
of wine before a
Oh,
blind
red.
tasting. And what's that?
Wait a minute.
Oh, you know what? Why don't we do this?
Just go right in the
'Cause-
red.
Okay, all right, go for it. You're trying to throw me off, and
We haven't done this in a long
Cuvée it
time
with
with
my,
the wrapped bottle. It's been quite a while.
when did we do? Oh, we did the right bottle with Chris. We did. They were all Cabernets from different regions.
Well, I was not expecting that. This is definitely going to be above my pay grade, Rocky, so you're going to have to take it from here. I don't know what to
Yeah.
make of this.
Okay, this is a clear, day bright, medium concentration of ruby red fading towards a watery meniscus. I'm going to stop right there. I'll tell you what this is, though. There's not a lot of grapes that are that translucent. You've got Pinot Noir, you've got Gamay, you've got Carmenere. What else? What else? I'm thinking of one from Italy. What am I thinking of? This is very translucent. If you could, can we zoom in on that? You can just see, you can see right through the glass, like more so even than with the Pinot Noir.
Maybe I'm crazy, but when you first take a sip, it hits you a little bit like a burgundy almost. But then it opens up a little bit more. It's really quite interesting. Even the aroma is different than what you're expecting it to taste like.
The aroma's insane. That's just like perfume. Like I want to smell this every day.
Yeah, it's very floral.
It's floral.
Like the
Purple
the
flower.
mid-
Yeah,
kind of palette.
elderflower kind of thing. I'm.
Do you think that first sip is quite powerful, and then you get a little bit more openness? Is it?
It's different once it's Let's see. If you're blind tasting, you should be spitting it out, which is what he did because it actually sends all the stuff up through your palate, all the fumes.
Have you narrowed it down to a region yet, or a country?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess based on how it initially felt when it hit my mouth, Italy, and that's just like
That's.
fair.
I was kind of going to Italy.
That's different.
You think like a cold
Yeah.
climate, something from Veneto, maybe Alto Adige.
something I've never had before. Clearly,
Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir from Italy? Like Pinot Nero? Or are you saying that that's what it is, or that's your guess?
No,
or you don't.
it's
Oh,
Pinot
you don't.
Noir.
Oh, it's Pinot Noir
Yeah.
from Italy. Oh, okay.
That's not from Italy though.
no.
Oh. All right. Well then,
It's just
So my
It's
guess,
so
if it's not from Italy, I'm going to guess that it's from Germany. All right. It definitely doesn't taste like Pinot
Is it
Noir
somewhere in
from
Eastern or
France
Western
or
Europe?
U.S.
Oh.
Eastern
Very
Europe.
far eastern.
Okay, well, Germany was not a bad guess.
Hungarian?
Yeah.
No,
We're
the
going to
home of
Serbia.
Serbia, okay.
Wow.
Serbian Pinot Noir. I've never had one.
No.
It's the first for me. So
That's fascinating.
There are actually some really good Slovenian wines that I've had recently as well.
that's the bottle. It's Fair Noir.
All right.
I looked it up. The guy's like I don't know, like a skateboard legend. Certain winemaker.
Sweet.
And this is available locally if you look for
That
it?
was the
or-
last bottle. I think I got the last bottle today, so that will not be available anywhere. Just here on the show.
Wow.
And
So
what's-
for those of you at home, this is fantastic, and you'll never have it in your life. We have a tendency of doing that. See, one of the problems with this show is that people don't realize this. We film it, and then a lot of times, like, it doesn't come out for. Sometimes it'll be a week,
3 or
sometimes
4
it'll be a
weeks, yeah.
month, and then by that time, all the stock's gone, and so we
Or they
just
restock it in the
SOL.
comment section, you know,
Yeah.
it gets flamed. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So I mean, if anybody
why
knows
everybody
Serbian,
hates us.
I don't know what CRNA Tamjanika, TAMJANIKA is. But it's 80% Pinot Noir.
I can't
so
even
we're not
even
gonna
pronounce French labels, much less something from Slovenia.
That is definitely
Serbia,
unique.
Serbia, Herzegovina. Okay, well.
That's crazy, huh?
No, it's good. It's man.
And what's the price point on that, Link?
$25 at the liquor store.
Is that a little bit higher alcohol content?
It's probably lower if it's from a.
14.5.
Oh, that's actually high for Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the wine laws are in that part of
I've never studied
Europe. So
I could be honest,
you
that's
can,
fascinating.
I
It
think you
really
can
is.
vary up to 1.5% for the entirety of the EU.
It's like Chardonnay from Texas.
Yeah.
Well, their table wine there is probably like 19%, so.
Yeah.
You know.
No, literally.
But I know we've done Hungarian wine on the show. I think we've had some Yugoslavian wine, I think, one time, didn't we? Was it Armenia or Yugoslavia?
I think we had Armenia, and I
Was it
can't remember
Armenia?
where the one was that I got from Max Beverage. That it was a rosé, wasn't it?
Those can be hit and miss, though. Those can be hit and miss.
Yeah, that was a thumb sideways, if I remember. It was. It wasn't bad. It was just different. It's not what you expect in a rosé, you know. So.
But this is what I would call a good drinking red. You don't have to drink that red with food, in my opinion. You can just, if you're just sitting and having a
It's
conversation.
a porch pounder, and it's
that?
kind of cool to me when I pour a wine and I see how translucent it is,
Yeah.
and because you don't. That's why I guess Germany. The only time I've seen a wine maybe that was this translucent was whether I had one from Argentina and one from Germany. It's just it's clear, like water. But
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the year on this one?
2021.
Oh, so it's
21.
okay.
we're just gonna sit here and get wasted on this. Like,
Well, I
no,
gotta
we don't
say,
need to move
it's-
on.
It's
This is-
yeah, we got to
this
move
is
on.
too
But
cool.
fantastic to have two different Pinot Noirs, completely different taste profiles, both delicious in their own right. So it's another reason people just don't be afraid to try different things, because you will be amazed how good wine can be if you just break out of your wheelhouse and your comfort zone.
Get away from the Camus, people. Don't buy it. Put the Camus down.
like that's
I know that big
basically-
1 liter bottle looks fantastic, but just put it down. Yes, spend your money on something else.
So what are we finishing with the 2020?
Okay,
it
so
looks like?
this is made by Monks. It is from a region called Ventoux, and if you've heard of Châteauneuf-du-Pape, which is the house of the Pope, I guess it's where the Pope used to grow wine and all that stuff, way back when, 14th century, 1400s. Before it was Châteauneuf-du-Pape, this is where the Pope lived, and so they have been growing wine there forever. This is grown by, like I said, Monks. And it's a really good wine. I had it, I was like kind of blown away, and so I wanted to bring it on today. It is, I believe, 60-40 Grenache Syrah. So when you go into kind of that southern Rhone region, you get a handful of grapes, usually Grenache Syrah, and then they might throw some Mourvedre or whatever else in there. But a Carignan, this is just Grenache Syrah. I mean, it's good.
And the price
There's
point range?
a whole bunch of accolades. I've looked it up on my phone. I don't care to get into it right now, but this is priced between $19 and $21. So, and this you can also get this at Wise Old Dog. So,
Who would like to start the pouring? With your end, Rocky?
Lincoln, you want to do the honors because I guess I should. I hate to waste your.
This is going to be one more of the
Serbian.
toughest best in glass episodes because
This is going to be tough.
I knew it was all
But
gonna be
we've
good
got-
tonight, but-
we haven't had a dud yet. I think we had corked wine on the last one, didn't we?
we did have a cork one.
Yeah, that was,
mine. One of
uh,
mine. Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful color.
So I learned this the other day. Clockwise versus counterclockwise. It like closes the wine up. I'm gonna smell it.
I wonder if you're in the
It's
southern
absolutely
hemisphere,
insane.
if it's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
Yes.
So we're going like American toilets versus Australian toilets?
Yeah.
Right.
so
When
go,
when I flush in
clockwise
the
first.
southern hemisphere, when
Oh,
when I
clockwise,
swirl and I'm
clockwise,
south
then
of
clockwise.
the
And
then,
equator,
all right,
this
so
is the
we-
way I swirl.
All right.
Go the other way.
Okay.
Confuse all the
Counterclockwise,
particles.
Open it up.
Did you read that on the interwebs?
No, somebody showed it to me, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I tried it. I was like, "Wow, it's insane."
That really dries your mouth out.
Got a little bit of a tannic structure to it. It's got some peppery notes. It's got some, I think, blackberry, blueberry.
Very
The-
subtle.
The thing I like about when you mix Grenache and Syrah, Grenache, you get the red fruits, Syrah, you get kind of the blue and black fruits, so you get a kind of a mixture of all of that. And it's a little, yeah, I pulled it out of the wine fridge. That's why we're not getting the flavors that we should.
I'm still
because,
getting like nice bright, like ripe fruit in there.
yeah, I thought this would warm up. I took it out of the fridge like,
I feel like
Keep-
Rhone is one of those areas where you smell the wine and you're like, "This is Rhone."
yeah, this is,
Probably go good with a piece of cheese.
We did have, at one point on our list, a wine from Ventu, and when we were kind of, like the Côte d'Or offerings were not, they were a little subpar.
Yeah.
And we kept it on list for a good couple of years. It's called Côte de Ventu, so if you see that out, it's very nice, but that was Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvedre, so
yeah,
a little bit drier than this.
yeah.
So the remaining few minutes, I got to ask both Lincoln and Chris, anything going on in either place? Millrights in Simsbury, Vinted here in town, any events or anything going on? Tastings, dinners?
No real events. I mean, we're open Tuesday through Saturday, lunch and dinner. We do happy hour every day we're open, and then we do half price bottles of wine on Wednesdays, all day and night. So that's a good time to come
Sure
and
is.
try a few, taste of the wine and figure out what you want for the bottle and try something maybe you haven't tried
Probably
before.
run into me and
And you, Lincoln, over there in
because we're cheap.
Simsbury?
So we do half price bottles on Tuesdays. Other than that, we have a tasting event going on upstairs. It's called Honey, and there's some non-alcoholic and alcoholic beverage selections involved.
Is that online reservations or is
Yeah,
that?
it's online only. They just released it the other day, so I don't know if it filled up yet, but it should be awesome. And they're just kind of doing a pairing with honey in every single course. And something Ashley Flagg does over at Millrights. Other than that, we're opening the bridge on, I don't know, the second, third, fourth week in November, hopefully before Thanksgiving. That would be cool. Yeah, it's just always fun over there.
All right, so we have to pick best in glass, and this is going to be tough. So,
Everybody gets one vote.
yeah, everybody gets one vote, so we might end up with a
might
tie.
have to go one vote and then second place and then just tally it up. We've had to do that before.
Just from what I tend to like for a red this time of year, I'm going to pick the Angela for me for my Pinot Noir.
Okay.
But I mean, they're all delicious. But if I have to pick one,
Yeah, this is like what's better, chocolate or vanilla ice
Yeah.
cream? It's, what are you in the mood for? Like, I don't know, you know?
I mean, I'll rank them all in order if you want me to.
Sure.
Go right ahead,
Let's
yeah.
hear it.
So, as much as I love rosé all year round, I'd say that would be like number 5. Number 4 probably would be the Vox. Number 3, the other Pinot Noir. Number 2, the Angela, and then number 1, the Sancerre. Because I love a dry, crisp
Yeah.
French white, especially Sancerre.
I was
or
torn too
bubbles.
there.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on par with Chris.
I would be on par with that. Yeah, I hate that the Vox is too cold for you to kind of get the flavors out of it. This doesn't taste like what it's
No,
supposed to taste
I'm
like.
letting
but
it. I'm gonna enjoy
Let it
this.
simmer
Like,
for a
it's
while. Try it
delicious.
again.
Like, I
and we'll
definitely
maybe
give it a
re-rank
thumbs
it.
up, but,
Yeah.
so on a,
It was a hard one.
not decisive, but the Sancerre is winning tonight then.
I would put the Sancerre easily in my top 2.
Okay.
So I think, if you were to really add it up and do all the math work, Lincoln, where would you put it in your
I'd
top
say,
1 or
yeah,
2?
the
So-
Sancerre is just a
That Sancerre is so
brilliant
solid,
example of
yeah.
Sancerre. It is on par with anything out there right now, if not anything better at the price point. I put that better at 28 to 30 at a liquor store. And how much does it retail for?
Between 24 and 26.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
So that's it. Wise old dog. I'm no.
No, it's just great wine. It's good.
So we have one guest member out in the audience, Molly. What were you drinking as you were watching the show?
Sincere.
And what did you think?
I thought it was delicious.
Okay, well then the glass has
So,
to go to
The best in glass.
best in
We'll
glass
go
goes
down
to
there
the-
where
yeah.
we'll have to put that in front of the Sancerre or beside it. Or don't worry about it. All right, there we are.
So I want to thank everybody for watching. Like I said, we're going on 12 years, I think, coming up, Rock, in November. It's 12 years.
12 long, beautiful years. Well, not
Well
for me, but
over.
I
Close to
started here in
500
16,
bottles
so
of
this
wine
is
we've been tasting.
4, 5, 6, 7 years
Close
for
to
me.
500 bottles we've tasted on
Yeah.
the show.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's awesome.
So I want to thank everybody for watching, and please keep watching. I want to thank our guests, both Lincoln and Chris, and please try both places. They're both fantastic, Millrights and Vinted. Rocky, as always, your selections were fantastic. And until next time, keep all of us
In your wine
cellar.
cellar.